We're now absolutely delighted to switch from Europe to the rise of services. We've got Paul Thompson and Zeshan Malik from Bombardier. The good news is we're not charging them. The really good news is because of the tariffs being cancelled yesterday, Americans were allowed to eat breakfast this morning. Which was great. We were going to have to retaliate, but that's great. How are you guys?
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
Okay, we're not going to talk at any point. Are we going to talk about sanctions? We're not going to talk about tariffs. We're not going to talk about financial results because yours come out on Thursday and neither of you wants to break the news, which I think is disappointing. But we are going to talk about services. So, and we also have the rugby ball if anyone would like to ask a question. Okay, so Zeshan, what's your role at Bombardier? Your role is to go around the world and find places to build services. Is that roughly right?
That's right. So I kind of have a dual mandate at Bombardier. I'm the Vice President of Corporate Development. So on that side, at the enterprise level, I'm responsible for M&A, for corporate strategy, and for market analytics intelligence. And then my other side of my role is on services, which is really related to expanding and pricing and things along those lines.
And so where do you decide where to go? Actually, can we go through the projects that are on your desk at the moment, just very quickly?
Well, what I could talk about what we have launched in the last few years. So
the problems which were on your desk have now been passed on to.
So we've launched a 250,000 square foot facility in Miami, in Opelika, in the United States. We've launched a 250,000 square foot facility at Biggin Hill, which Paul was previously the GM of. We've acquired a business in Berlin, MRO facility there. That's also about 200 folks who work there. We've gone through a massive expansion in Singapore, all in 2022. And we also have a presence in Melbourne, Australia. A couple of years ago, we launched a facility in Abu Dhabi as well. And we'll have some major developments on that project in coming weeks.
And it's amazing how much the shift in the last 10 years, or maybe 15 years from the NG OEMs were first. They got on services heavily. You guys have expanded your footprint. Some of you, many of your competitors. How do you just keep up with that growth internally? How is it finding people to run it? And
well, I guess the first question is why do we do this, right? And from my perspective is you need to do the right thing. And you need to go where the customers are. And you need to be able to make it easy for your customer to get the services that they need. The planes are getting bigger, they're going international, they're getting older, and the fleet's growing. So you need to actually expand to make sure it makes life easier for your customers. When you expand, you need to take several parameters into consideration. You need to look at where there is talent, where there is capacity, where there's airports are conducive to those operations. And Paul can add to that, specifically related to talent. But we look at multiple variables when we expand.
And Paul, is part of your job making it consistent? So if I go to Australia, I get the same experience. And
that's a big challenge. My job is I look after services all around the world. So Zeshan gets to build them, I get to fill them, and it's been quite a challenge, but it's been fun. And some of the considerations we take: where's the density of the aircraft going into? But then also, can we get the people? Can we get the infrastructure? And we like to go quite local as well. So we like to bring in local suppliers as much as we can. But the consistency of service is something, it is a challenge every day. We're trying to really work on our franchise model. So if you walk into Tucson or Singapore or Melbourne, you get the same type of service, you get the same feel, the same touch. Got a beautiful picture in the background of Biggin Hill. But we want to give the high-end client experience, and we want to just continue that journey from when you pick up your aircraft to how you service it. So it's good fun, and Zeshan always throws me the odd curveball.
No, that's it. Keep life interesting.
We always talk about the talent crunch. How are you managing it?
Yeah, that's probably number two. You build the facilities. The second one is keeping them full. And I think as Bombardier, we're not just looking for talent just for Bombardier. Obviously, that's our first choice. But in the industry, I think in the UK there's something like 17,000 engineers short. When we exited Brexit, it didn't help with the new licensing rules around splitting of licenses, but we're really trying to invest in apprenticeships all across the world. So we've got a very active apprenticeships team in Biggin Hill. We've got 70 apprentices currently going through with Farnborough College. We're starting another 20 or 30 this year. We've also got apprenticeship schemes in Singapore, Australia, Berlin, and then in the US, we have Mech to Tech programs. So we have incubator programs where we bring people in. We're setting up a facility in Wichita. We're bringing them in 6, 7, 8 weeks, and we're going to train them. But this isn't just about us. We need to give more back to the entire industry, because I think 2 summers ago, you seen when there wasn't enough engineers and everybody's freaking out at Heathrow because they can't get their flight. So we have to invest, and it's not only just in, everyone says about B1, B2 engineers. It's all very sexy, and you see the hydrogen aircraft and how we're going to electrify, but we need people with proper skills. We need people that can fix an airplane, can dress a skin, instead of just replacing parts, actually repairing parts. So we are spending a lot of time on this. We've also started our military pathway in the UK, and we have another scheme in the US called Skill Bridge. We're bringing experienced people from the military that have served, have worked around aircraft a long time, and they're now trying to get them their civilian licenses. Also, we're in primary schools. STEM's a big thing. We need more females in our industry, and we're in primary schools trying to attract the young talent up to go and serve an apprenticeship, because it's not always about going through the university course and getting your degree and then going in. Some people have different pathways, and we're a big supporter of that, because as we grow the facilities, as there are more and more aircraft coming in, we need more and more people to do the job.
One of the things about business aviation is one of the things you've chosen, and I know it's largely because Zeshan likes traveling to nice cities, is you've chosen expensive cities around the world. How do you, housing in London's really expensive. How do you, get people to move to lovely Biggin Hill? And I can see Robert in the background.
Yeah, so I'm one of those people. I live in southwest England, so about 200 miles away from the place, and Biggin Hill's not the easiest, but to try to attract talent, we're working closely with Biggin Hill Airport, so we're actually building an accommodation facility for the engineers, and we're having to do this just to attract people, but also to retain talent. In a place like London, I think there's 150 MROs within a 100-mile radius, and when I say, and this is everything from a component MRO to heavy maintenance, we've got 3 major hubs. So, having to attract engineers, keep them happy, and then, the support staff in behind them as well is something we're looking to do.
We also give our techs and our engineers career paths, right? So whether it's growing within the same facility or moving amongst our various network, right? We have 10 facilities worldwide. I think this is also an allure for people coming to work for us.
You've told us about the projects that you've announced. What are you working on now? What's next?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on. I guess I'd like to make an announcement today. We're going to announce our next expansion right here, right now. You guys are the first to hear it. So we're going through another expansion here in the UK. We're going to be building a state-of-the-art paint facility in Biggin Hill. It's going to be adjacent to our existing facility, and it's going to be operational in mid-2026. And it's great for our customers. Now, this facility is going to have interior capabilities, paint capabilities, heavy maintenance facilities. It's going to be a one-stop shop. So really excited for this next expansion. And a big thank you to our partners, including Robert and Biggin Hill Airport for being a major role in this expansion.
And this is a big last piece of the jigsaw for London. There's a lot of pressure on paint in Europe. So making the decision to make a 2-bay facility, it will fit two 7500s. It's full strip and paint. It'll complement our interior facility that we have. We've got what we call the material lounge, which is one of the only things we have in the world where new customers can come and select an interior like they do at Bombardier in Montreal. But it's going to be very, very exciting. A lot of thoughts went into the paint shop. We have one in Singapore as well. And Singapore it's very, very busy, and it's the sort of last piece of the puzzle, to help support our customers.
Okay, we've got a couple of audience questions. Someone's asking, since Canada's refused the offer of being the 53rd state, would it consider merging with Great Britain? I think that's old. You're going back too far. Here's a nice question from Thomas Chatfield. Does Bombardier, and this is for you, Zeshan, well, actually both of you, do you plan to build a facility in Africa?
So right now, we have a pipeline of projects we're looking into, right? I clearly can't talk about them in detail because they haven't launched, but clearly Africa is on our radar. So when and if we decide to launch, clearly everyone will know. But we are looking at all regions of the world, including Africa.
And we do have support in Africa. The customer services team. We've got what we call field service reps that are, they're spread out across the world. So they will help the customers troubleshoot the aircraft and hopefully bring them to another facility. But it's definitely on the mark.
And same question for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, absolutely. So Saudi is a very active market for us, but it's probably at this point not mature enough to actually build a presence immediately. We do have a facility going up in Abu Dhabi, which is a few hours away, but we're keeping a close eye on Saudi Arabia, and let's see what happens in the future.
And then we've got a few people going, services. One of the concerns some people have, and some owners have, and some of the large fleet operators have, is that OEMs are taking control of the aftermarket, and there's not going to be a role for independent MROs.
We do have ASFs around the world. I think we're down to 16 or 17, but we believe, like, we had the strategy 2018, bring your jet home. We fundamentally believe we are the best people to take care of your aircraft, and we're trying to instill a philosophy in all of our technicians of do the right thing. Just make the right decision and take care of our customers. We design, we build, and now we maintain, and we feed every bit of data we feed back into the next aircraft. So the Global 8000's just finished testing, which is going to launch this, I think, Q4 2026. We're doing the new EcoJet as well, and we're bringing all this data back. So we're not about creating a monopoly. We're there about creating an ecosystem where our customers can feel supported in the key bits of the world. But we feel that we're the number one. We just got voted ANI. Sorry for the little prop, but this is just the start of our journey, and getting to where the customers where the customers are, and building our presence there is something important.
And roughly how many aircraft do you touch in a day?
So yesterday we had about 312 in the network yesterday, just in heavy maintenance, and then there's quite a few of line maintenance, so it's a busy old place.
And just for the record, that wasn't a prepared question, so I'm impressed that you had that. I guess the session, from your point of view, you're obviously out there looking. Presumably you see a lot of information memorandums for maintenance facilities for sale. How do you see the market changing?
I do think that there is going to be a certain level of consolidation that's happening in the market. You also see a lot of private equity firms and so on going in and taking substantial stakes in MROs. So I think this is an attractive business. I think a lot of people are going to get into it, and I think there is going to be consolidation going forward.
Can you compete with private equity at the moment? Because there's one big deal out there that I think we've touched on yesterday for sale with Westar, and my feeling, or not my feeling, the market feeling is it's going to be a private equity buyer probably. Do you agree?
I think so too, but again, I don't have any knowledge, but I think so too.
Do you think the days of OEMs being able to snap up businesses like Dassault had ExecuJet? Do you think those days, Jet Aviation, which I know is which is a sister company of an OEM, not part of an OEM, I got told off by David Best yesterday for mentioning that. Bought Hawker Pacific. Do you think those days have gone?
No, I don't think so. I think if you take a look at Bombardier, we're looking to grow our air services business both organically and inorganically. Again, when we look at it inorganically, we have to make sure that whoever we would want to acquire is a right strategic fit for our organization, right? So it's not necessarily a question of only valuation. It's also a question of strategic fit. And I would say that Bombardier is also looking for potential targets that would fit in our ecosystem and help the overall customer.
Okay, Paul, this is a record. We've done 48 minutes in a 2025 conference without covering AI. What is the level of AI technologies that you use at the moment?
Yeah, so we're starting to we're getting into the market a lot more, especially around our parts. We've got a number of depots around the world, so we're really putting AI to use in how we predict to getting the right parts, the right place, at the right time, at the right stocking levels. We've got AHMS on most of our aircraft now, and we're starting to when we're downloading thousands of pieces of data from the flight, we're now starting to use AI to try to get into more predictive maintenance. So instead of always being reactive, waiting for a component to break, how do we proactively change things to increase the uptime of the aircraft? In maintenance as well, we're starting to how we plan maintenance, how we structure the big checks, how we make sure the right level of work is going on the right time. So we have a full team in this. They work for Anthony Cox, and this is something we'll delve in deeper into every single day.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. That was great. Thank you. Thanks.